All right. Hello there. I am very pleased to be here today with my dear friend, Dr. Silvia Amador Padilla. Sylvia, how are you today?
Doing good, Loren. So glad to be here.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your time and your story with us. Um, what I was hoping to do today was to let people know about your story, your process, because you've had an interesting last, what, probably 14 or 15 years.
Yes, yes, it's
I mean, I'm not sure exactly how far back it started, but you spent 13 years in a house in Oregon, right?
that's right. That's
And then
correct.
only found out at the end that the house was actually riddled with toxic mold.
That's correct.
And as a result of that, you wound up getting very sick.
Yes.
In fact, tell me if I think it's true that it affected everyone in the family to some degree.
Yes, everybody had some chronic condition
Yeah,
and yeah, it's things that it's common to have in the family, asthma,
sure.
eczema, things like that, migraines. We
Right.
didn't know how related it was to the toxicity.
Of course. Of course. So tell us a little bit about your history. I mean, you spent 13 years there, you moved away from there, but what was going on for you the last 10 years or so?
Okay. So I don't know if it matters before that, growing up in Mexico,
Sure.
um, I think it was just a normal childhood, not too many toxins around. My
Hmm.
mother cooked basic things,
Hmm.
but I
Typical for your region of the country, I guess.
that's right, a lot
Yeah.
of corn tortillas, rice and
Rice and
beans,
beans. Yeah.
ground beef in all the ways, caldos, broths and
Sure.
soups. But I did have all the vaccines. I mean, back then, that's what we thought we
Yeah,
needed.
me too. Me too.
And I had common colds and digestive issues since I was little, very bloated, extremely constipated since I was very young, I remember,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of antibiotics. So
Mm-hmm.
I did get a lot of amoxicillin. It was almost like expected candy. I remember the flavor, the pink color. Um, so a lot of that
Yeah.
growing up. A lot of also, availability of candies and chiles and tamarindos, the Mexican candies.
Yeah, and it's interesting because a lot of people would probably think, well, what does this have to do with what happened? But I
Yeah,
think it's clear that all of those things together set the stage, right? That was the foundation for what happened later on. Because the bottom line is, and most people listening to this probably get this already, but antibiotics are harmful to your body's immune function, right? All these medications are toxic substances. Even the beauty, the delicious, wonderful cuisine that your mother cooked with so much love was actually damaging to the body,
that's
right?
right.
As all cooked food is. And again, I know that's, a lot of people are going to wait a second, this guy's crazy. But the simple truth is that cooking destroys nutrients and creates toxic compounds. And yes, and we're just going to cover this quickly and out of the way, but yes, some nutrients are more bioavailable when you cook, but
Mhm.
we don't need that. Like every other species on the planet, we have a natural diet that doesn't require cooking or processing of any kind. And I know you know this. You know it now very well, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, okay.
Um,
So fast forward, you're now
yeah, so even in my youth, I had a lot of allergies, and those
mhm,
kept getting worse. High school, college. Um, yeah, the seasonal allergies were terrible.
mm,
And also reacting to things in my house, books and things like that. Dust, we said, is the dust. Um, but okay, so that was growing up, and then got married, came to live in the U.S. Um, the buildings, the medical center where I was. So we went to medical school, then came to the U.S., continued our
yeah.
studies. But the medical center suffered floods, hurricanes,
Mhm.
so there was a lot of mold in the
There as
building.
well. Yeah.
We didn't know
You
anything
know
about.
what? I think it's actually super common in many buildings. And by the way, for anybody listening, Sylvia is not speaking in the royal we. Sylvia and her husband are both MDs. So when she said we went to medical school, she's talking about both of them. Yeah.
Yes. So we lived in Texas for 8 years, and then we moved to Oregon,
Hmm.
and we had a beautiful home in the country. We felt so blessed. I homeschooled my 4 children, and we lived in the house. We were there 24/7.
Right.
We had a big vegetable garden, chickens, and we tried to live as clean as possible,
Yeah.
buying grass-fed beef. I thought
Right.
raw
Right.
milk. I
Right.
thought I was giving them the best. But yes, after we moved, chronic conditions just got worse. My allergies got worse. One of the kids had food intolerances, lots of hives with anything he ate, very scary. The other one had regressed, in his potty training and had night terrors.
Oh, wow.
Um, the other one started having hormonal issues, growing up in her teenage years. My husband had severe migraines, just very incapacitating.
Mm.
And my digestive issues continued to get worse. I was told I had SIBO.
Hmm.
And yeah, so it was in 2018 that my health really broke down. It was very scary. I
I can
started
imagine.
having, um, I'm sorry?
I can imagine. It must have been very scary.
Yeah. I started having just difficulty, very weak,
Hmm.
extremely tired, panic attacks while driving.
Mm.
I was breastfeeding my 2-year-old, my fourth child, and I said, well, maybe I need to stop breastfeeding. Something's wrong with my body. And
Hmm.
I was getting very weak, overwhelmed by simple things. Um, and then suddenly one day, we were trying to paint the house, sell the house. We had a lot of visits from the family. It was a very stressful time. And suddenly one day I was just extremely weak. And I just told my husband, I can't get up. Um, I was very nauseous, very
Mm.
anxious, and sad. I didn't
Hmm.
know what was wrong. I
Hmm.
started having tachycardia, just really fast heart rate through the nights. One time, my husband took me to the ER because he was very concerned. I think it was 300. And
Wow. That's a fast pulse.
I just felt like a wild animal was after me.
Yeah.
Um,
I can only imagine. There must have been tons of adrenaline in the bloodstream.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So in the hospital, they put me on IV. Everything come down just with the hydration. Now I know. And
Yeah.
they told me I was too stressed, that I should see a psychiatrist. That it's like I've never had these issues. I don't
Yeah.
need a psychiatrist. And that's the beginning of seeing a lot of doctors and being misunderstood and labeled as, a psychiatric patient. And I finally, searching online, desperate, I saw some relation with diagnosis like dysautonomia,
Hmm.
like the autonomic nervous system is off.
Right.
And I was able to contact a neurologist in New York online, and
Hmm.
she said, yes, you have a lot of these symptoms. Like I would eat and almost pass out, like the body wouldn't compensate the blood flow.
Hmm.
Um, but she said, I think you have mast cell activation syndrome, just another diagnosis. You need a lot of antihistamines because the histamine, all those crises you're having, is inflammatory things circulating. So
Right.
we need to calm those down. So
Yeah.
they gave me high doses of antihistamines, and I was able to function again. I thought I had a diagnosis. Okay, and it was finding these worlds online of people suffering with these things, being so misunderstood, despairing, because the
Yeah.
symptoms are so overwhelming. Just people committing suicide because they didn't want to live this way.
Mm.
So it was, yeah, it was a nightmare.
I can only imagine. Yeah. At least you're wealthy in diagnoses.
Yes.
There are lots,
Crazy,
there are
weird.
lots of those. Yeah. Amazing. So all this had been going on for years, culminated in all, in finally getting to the point where you really couldn't function very well. And you made the move to New Mexico when?
So that was 2021. So I was able to function with the drugs,
Hmm.
but at some point the boys had horrible asthma, and we
Mm.
decided to remove the carpets for the house. And I helped Arnoldo tear them up, and sweep underneath. The day after, I had really high fever. All the symptoms came back.
Oh, geez.
And we finally made the connection with the house.
Yeah. So
So
this is still in Oregon.
this is still in Oregon. This
Right.
was 2020.
Hmm.
And my husband said, let's just get out of the house. And he took
Yeah.
me to an Airbnb, the whole family, to the coast. And the next day I was able to walk again. And the next day I was able to prepare food for them again. I
Yeah.
was again thinking clearly. Um, so yeah, that was a clear connection that there was problems in the house. We had read about it. And we never came back. So we came back, we tried to come back, and the reactions were so massive for everybody, not just for
Instantly.
me.
Yeah.
It was very clear. So we lost all our stuff. Um, we lived in a trailer, in an aluminum trailer that wouldn't get moldy for
Right.
3 years.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and we traveled because we were reacting to buildings in Oregon. Any the chemical sensitivities and the mold sensitivities were so extreme.
Yeah.
Nobody would believe it if you don't experience it. But
Right. Right.
yeah,
Wow. Crazy. So you made the move eventually to New Mexico, built a beautiful log house there
yes,
where you don't have to worry about that mold issues, right? The exterior walls are the interior walls.
yes.
So there's no, I mean, that's often where the problems occur, isn't it? Inside the insulation, inside the walls, etc. Yeah. Fantastic. So I don't know if this is true, but I heard that last June you did some crazy thing. Tell us about that, please.
Yeah, so we built this place, but still my chemical sensitivities were very extreme.
Yeah.
So I was reacting to the varnishes, even though we went with, um, everything we
Water-based,
could find that was low
least
VOC.
toxic, right?
Yeah.
Low VOC, zero VOC. Yeah.
So I was still sleeping in the trailer because otherwise my nights would be terrible.
Yeah.
But everybody's health improved so much just by getting out,
Just by moving.
except me.
Yeah.
Um, so I tried many different therapies, parasite cleanses.
Hmm.
I tried the Gerson therapy, which
Hmm.
improved our diet, and that helped. But still, I was having this crisis, very scary. So it was 2 years ago in winter, Christmas.
Hmm.
We were celebrating Christmas for the first time in the house, and I was falling apart again.
Hmm.
I was telling my husband, I'm going down the drain. It's just fast. It's like a spiral going down. Everything I try is making things worse.
Yeah.
And I was just trying different drugs and treatments. And I was just, now I think poisoning myself more. The body was
Of
stop.
course. Of course. Of course. Yeah.
But so he took me away again in the trailer.
Hmm.
We went back to Texas to an RV park, and desperate. I ended up being on steroids, had to be put on steroids very high so that the body would come down. But, and it helped in that sense. It stopped the
Well,
symptoms,
it
right?
suppresses the symptoms, but of course, the long-term effect of that is not so positive.
That's right. And I
Yeah.
was very scared of being on high doses of steroids for a long time,
Yeah.
that the adrenals would shut down and I wouldn't be able to stop them long term. And that's when I found you. That's when I learned some people had mercy on me. I was on these groups, desperate, trying to find answers.
Hmm.
And somebody said, stop what you're doing. I was trying to chelate mercury
Right.
because I had removed all my feelings,
Hmm.
hoping that would help. And he said, "Why don't you look into this?" And then I started learning about natural hygiene, and I found references of people that had fasted with you. And
Hmm.
I have to do this. This has to stop somehow. I don't know what
Yeah.
else to do.
Right. Yeah.
So I met with you, Arnoldo and I met with you. It was so important to me that we both would be on the same page.
Hmm.
And he had seen me trying so many things. And the whole family followed. We were all together in all the treatments uh, to a, to a
Degree.
degree.
Hmm.
Because everybody still had some issues and everybody
Sure.
wanted to get
Yeah.
better, but
Yeah.
to support me. And he was not afraid or surprised. When we met you, it was such a beautiful witness what you had been through, and your strength and your peace and your desire to go on and continue to share this great good news, this
Hmm.
truth with the world, no matter what
Yeah.
had happened to you
Right.
because of this. And it was so clear that this is what I was called to do. And it brought me great hope. Reading books about natural hygiene gave me a lot of strength and, yeah, great hope that I was not doomed to live
Right.
this way for life.
Oh, how beautiful. I'm so glad. I want to inject a couple of things here. First of all, for anybody watching this or listening, it might be hard to imagine. I'm not sure exactly how to say this, how to phrase this, but how you were a year ago. Because I mean, right now you're vibrant and vivacious and energetic, and we're interacting weekly in our community. I see you all the time, and you always have tons of energy. You're very positive. And when we met, not quite a year ago, around a year ago, that you were a very different person, weren't you?
Yes, yes,
I
I
mean,
was.
energy was very low at the time. Yeah,
Yeah, I couldn't go for a walk. I couldn't do things outside. I love gardening and just,
yeah,
growing around things. And the house, the place is new. I wanted to do so many things. And
yeah,
it was, regretting anything. It's like, okay, I have a bit more energy today. I'll do something. I will pay for it days afterwards.
right,
That's
right.
very typical for people labeled with chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia. It's just,
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And I wanted the other piece I wanted to inject for anybody listening that's not familiar with natural hygiene. Natural hygiene is a centuries old philosophy that basically says health is the result of aligning ourselves with the laws of nature. That, as we talked about earlier, we have a natural diet. The body is self-cleansing and self-healing. Um, Medications don't make people healthy. Toxic substances can't make us healthy. In fact, nothing can heal the body except the body. Right? These are all tenets of natural hygiene. And I'm guessing they taught you all of that in medical school, right?
No,
Not exactly. Yeah, not exactly.
no,
You know,
not at all.
yeah. The unfortunate truth is that a lot of that was taught in medical school in years gone by. But everything changed in 1910 when uh, Rockefeller took over the American Medical Association, and the world's first billionaire began investing in pharmaceutical companies, and basically rewrote the rules, determined what medical schools were allowed to teach, shut down the ones that weren't in accordance. And still today, pharma controls medicine. Most people don't realize that, but unfortunately, pharma really still pulls the reins. And so, what you were taught in medical school, I'm guessing, was you got drugs and surgery.
Yes.
And
And we
pretty much nothing
believed,
else.
we truly believed that was healing.
Yeah,
That was,
yeah.
but it is not so, because if you remove the drugs, then the problem's still there.
And it's worse because you've been consuming this toxic substances to suppress symptoms. So you haven't made yourself healthier at all.
That's right.
Yeah. In fact, I mean, I'm quite clear that the more we do that, the greater, I think we're actually developing chronic disease over time as we suppress symptoms, as we medicate.
Yes, yes.
So I'm so grateful that you were steered towards natural hygiene, that you found this amazing philosophy.
I yeah, I give thanks to God because he pushed me to this, you know. I
Right.
would if I hadn't been so desperate,
Yeah.
if I had gotten better or
Well, that's often the way it is, isn't it? I mean, unfortunately, oftentimes we're so in our comfort zones and we can be pretty damn uncomfortable. But if we're in the, if it's something we're used to, most people will stay there rather than doing something new, rather than doing something different. And
yeah.
you get low enough and you become, and the same thing happened to me, as you know. I was 23 when I found myself so sick I could barely function. And it took me 3 years to figure out that medicine wasn't helping me. Walked away from medicine and have literally never gone back. I still see a doctor. I'm seeing one right now, but this is the only time I see a doctor is when I'm talking to someone like you. So, so you actually wound up fasting with me last June. Let's talk about what happened for you. How was that? First of all, were you, most people, I think, going into the process are a little bit nervous, to say
Mhm.
the least.
Yes.
I mean, you weren't a very large person at the time, still not a very large person. And here you are planning to not eat anything for 21 days.
Yes.
So was that scary?
But yes, it was. It was very scary. But I had read enough and heard enough of your talks to be at peace. All the testimonies from your clients, beautiful testimonies that I could see that it was just beyond the physical healing, that it was the
Yeah.
whole.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's a beautiful thing that I had also learned through all these years of being ill, that I'm not going crazy. It's just my body is not working properly.
Yeah, of
So
course.
it and how many, psychiatric diagnoses, and so how many people suffering and being poisoned with more,
Right.
drugs, that think that there's no hope for them, and it is the body not working well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
Um,
it's, I've worked with a lot of people over the years, have had the opportunity to travel. You're probably the one of the least crazy people I've ever met. Very
thank you.
grounded, very sane. But, I mean, unfortunately, and again, you're part of the fraternity or sorority or fraternity, whatever it is, because there's both men and women. Um, many doctors are going through life with regard to health with an omniscience complex, right? They believe they know everything.
Yes.
And what that means is if you're telling them something that they don't have any knowledge or understanding of, then you're crazy. It doesn't exist. And the same thing happened to me. I was told that the issues I was dealing with weren't real. They were in my head. I'm like, no, they're not. They're in my body. They're not in my head. Yeah, but I
Yes.
I can relate. So let's talk about the fasting process. You did
Yeah.
21 days. Um, Safe to assume you're out dancing every night and
Yeah, so I started, like you say, underweight and very weak because it had been years of not being able to do much
barely
exercise,
able to move. Yeah,
being in bed often this, because it was like a roller coaster. It's like, okay, okay, I'm getting better. And then I would do any effort, and then sink
right,
deep or deeper
right,
and need more drugs.
right.
Um, so I started being very underweight and very weak. And yes, I was worried about not eating for 3 weeks, but um, yeah, I didn't share with anybody. But my family was very at peace and very supportive. So was a great, great gift because it was hard. It was I got weaker. I would call you often and ask you lots of questions. You were always there for me. Um, but yes, I was worried about how weak I was feeling. And so I had to wean off the medication. I didn't
Mhm.
think I would be able to, but I was. And then I was ready for all the symptoms to come back full force. But it
Right.
was beautiful to see how the body was to trust in the body, in the process, that the body
Mhm.
knew what was doing,
Yeah.
and that they came back, but very quieted, very, mild.
Right.
I had fever. I sweated a lot too. There were smells coming out of me. Um, but my family was so at peace because they had seen me so sick, so bad before, with
Sure.
extreme symptoms.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen during the fast.
No, but you did get exceptionally weak.
Yes.
Most people who fast with me are able to walk to the toilet.
Yes.
You weren't.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think it was day 10, 7 or 10,
Yeah.
that we brought a wheelchair that we had for my parents in a different place. And then I had to be taken to the bathroom in the
Yeah.
wheelchair. I could stand for a few seconds, but not too long,
Right.
just for, taking my measurements, the weight that you needed every day.
Yeah.
But yes, the weakness was scary. And that's what I would call you about often.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's important for people to understand. It's funny because someone said to me on Facebook yesterday, women can't fast. It's harmful for women. And I said, I've guided more than 7,000 women over the last 30 plus years. Oh, no, you're making up numbers. I'm like, no, I'm not actually. Um, but again, this is, getting advice from the MD I mentioned, who has never fasted more than 3 days, telling people that, not to be fasting. So amazing things happen. But as I told you and probably told you more than once, when someone starts a fast underweight, with not a lot of body fat and not a lot of muscle mass, weakness and tiredness are expected, often
Yes.
extreme weakness and tiredness.
And it was beautiful to see how this was so real and true, because there was a sweet lady fasting at the same time as I was.
Hmm.
And she was overweight. Like you said, she had a wealth of reserves, and she was still moving around the
She
house,
had plenty of
cleaning.
energy. Yeah,
She was even cooking for her son. And I was like, how can you be doing? Oh, I'm fine. I'm not hungry. I have tons of energy.
right.
And here I was just in bed and couldn't move.
Well, I'm glad you said that because, again, it's important for people to understand that the symptoms each person experiences are unique not only to the person, but to that specific experience. I I, I think we've talked about this. I think you're planning to fast again when you can.
I
And
would love.
it will likely be a different experience for you because you're literally living in a different body. I mean,
Yeah.
in the last 12 months, well, it only takes about a month, if I remember correctly, for over 90% of your cells to be replaced. So by now they've been replaced multiple times, most of them. You're literally living in a different organism. It looks similar, just a lot more vibrant and vivacious, but so it's going to be a different experience each time. So you wound up doing 21 days. Um, what happened in the refeeding process? Did your strength come back?
Yeah, so it took a while. Well, we stopped 3 days before. I did 18.
Okay. I didn't
18.
remember that. Mhm.
Um, you were confident that I could go on, but were very respectful of my wishes. And I felt so weak and concerned.
Yeah.
Um, but there were no scary symptoms happening. It was
Just
just a week.
extreme weakness. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the refeeding, it was just beautiful, magical, I don't know, wonderful. Um, Tasting all these flavors of the fruit was amazing. And I think it was 3 days after I started refeeding that I was able to start preparing my own food.
Oh,
I
wow.
was again
Okay.
standing, cutting, my fruit.
Typically it's the third day where most people start to have a little bit more energy, but it sounds like it was a dramatic shift for you.
I felt okay, I'm coming back
Yeah.
soon. I mean, quickly.
Yeah.
And it was a joy. All those
But
flavors is hard to explain.
well, and of course, you were doing this. You were refeeding late in June, so you've got all the delicious summer fruits available. And what most people, may not realize is that it only takes a week or so to completely rejuvenate your taste buds. So you were tasting things you probably hadn't tasted since you were a little girl.
just the taste of the watermelon. And I tell friends now, it's not that the poor woman was starving, it's flavors that you've never tasted in your life. The
Yeah.
combination of sweetness and
Yeah.
even saltiness, the
Yeah.
depth of the flavors is amazing.
Most people, most adults, even most children can't taste those things anymore because of consuming salt and pepper and spices and vinegar and oil. These things which are literally damaging your taste buds, right? They enhance the flavor, but they're called excitotoxins. They excite the taste buds while damaging them. And so what happens to most people is they have to keep eating more and more of these flavors
Yes.
to find pleasure from their food. Once we get that garbage out of the body and heal the taste buds again, I mean, do you still find the same pleasure in eating a delicious fruit?
Yes, it's not that amazing thing. The first few weeks, I think it was the first couple months.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, bowls full of strawberries, the mangoes, the peaches.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was this connection also with and great gratitude. Um, I I have a strong faith and I love our Lord. And through the process, I felt so loved. And it was just this certainty that my body's healing.
Yeah.
Yes, the weakness, and I needed your reassurance, but it was a certainty that God is doing this.
Hmm.
Finally, I stopped. I don't need to figure this out by myself anymore. I don't
Right.
need to understand the molecular, genetic, whatever craziness of my diagnosis. It is Him. It
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
wisdom that He placed in my body that's doing the work.
Right.
No more drugs, no more weird diagnosis. It's getting out of the way, like you say.
Yeah.
No more me. And it was this feeling of being so loved. And then when you start eating, it's like, these fruits, this perfect food has been made for us. I don't need to make it better with the fascinating recipes. It's
Right.
perfect,
Right.
perfect for
Right.
me.
Right. Yeah. Beautiful. So it's an amazing thing when we realize that. So many people struggle to find food they enjoy, etc. And I mean, for me, almost every meal, I'm saying, "Oh my God, this is amazing."
Yes,
And this is on less than optimal North American fruit. I mean, it was a different world in Costa Rica.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, the fruit there is incredible. But yeah, been beautiful. So it's now been about 10 months since you finished the process. How have you been since then? I mean, you had what, more than 10 years that your health was compromised. The last seven, I think, dramatically so. What's happened over the last 10 months? How's it been for you?
Yeah, so it's beautiful to see how staying in this way of living, eating, continues the process of detoxification. I
Hmm.
continue to heal.
Hmm.
So there's times when these smells will come back, or the bowel movements will be a little strange again.
Hmm.
Um, I would feel weak or some symptoms of the flu, and then I will feel better. You
Yeah.
know, but as the time has gone on, I've been able to do more. I continue to see improvement in my strength, in my brain capacity. Uh,
Again, well, after about day 10, you weren't really able to walk to the toilet,
yes,
right? While fasting. Now, if I understand correctly, you're often hiking. You're up in the mountains at, is it 8,000
yes,
feet?
8,000 feet. Yeah,
So air's a little thinner up there.
yeah,
Now that's pretty high. And you're out there hiking through the mountains.
yes. And I know that I can still be stronger and get
Of
stronger. I
course,
mean,
of
I'm not
course.
compared to other people. I'm not, but just thinking about where I've been for the last decade,
Yeah.
it's huge, huge difference. I've been shoveling dirt for the garden. I couldn't imagine doing
No,
these things.
that literally would have been impossible a year ago.
If I had dared to, I would immediately get hurt. I would
Right.
pull a muscle and then pay for it for many
Oh,
days or
yeah,
weeks.
yeah, right. Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
I'm driving. I hadn't been able to drive for 2 years. It was like the sensory stimulation of the speed or the movement. I I couldn't drive.
Yeah.
It was very, yeah, I just couldn't process. the driving and the thinking at the same time.
I don't want to overstate it, but I think it's true that there were many things you really couldn't do.
Yes.
There
Yes.
wasn't that much that you could do, in fact.
I mean, I kept things going in the house, but the kids are older, so they had taken over many
Hmm.
of the jobs that I used to do when they were little.
Yeah.
Um, they've homeschooled, so we've been together always, and that was a huge blessing. But yes, my poor husband had to do so many things that I should have done if I was well. But yeah,
Well, and now the tables have turned. Um, in
yes,
fact, let's go in chronological order because I think you know this. We're actually about, hopefully in the next week or so, we're going to start running ads for a new program. We now have a program for, if you're watching this and you're not ready to jump into a 21-day fast or a 30-day fast, my average client fast over the last 30, almost 31 years now has been 26 days. But for anyone that's not ready to do that, we have a new program that is a huge educational program with 7 days of fasting. So it's a chance to dip your toe in the water. We're going to start advertising that. Um, until now, we've never advertised. And I've stayed super busy all this time because, and your story is a great example of this. So I think perhaps the next most affected people was your then 23-year-old daughter.
yes, yes.
And
So I'm sorry. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you tell, you tell.
Well, she came home from college, so we left the house and she was ready, accepted in college. So she pretty much left for college when we were living in the trailer.
Mm,
And she didn't have a chance to heal like the other members of the family
right.
with better diet, with a better environment, better air.
Yeah.
I mean, we were practically living outside in all the RV parks, right?
Right.
And she had moldy buildings to contend with because she could feel it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, sure.
and the diet was not ideal. So she continued with health issues. Now that she came home and she was for me here for the fast, she saw my amazing improvement and she said, well, this is what I need to do. I need to do this soon so I can go on with my life.
Yeah.
Um, but she needed this time home to heal. Um, so she went all in and was excited to be able to do this with you too.
Yeah. Yeah. So she reached out to me in August and fasted 21 days in September.
Yes.
And I think it's been powerful and beneficial for her too. I think she still has more work to do, but
Yes,
definitely
but
powerful
she's
for her.
seen many improvements. There were many hormonal issues. Yeah, very clearly thyroid issues. She was on thyroid medication
Mhm.
before. Many things have improved for her, but
Yeah.
yes, yeah, she
And
still has a way to go.
and again, I mentioned earlier because people are only seeing you now, right? It would have been wonderful if we had like a before and after, but we don't have that. But the change in you was so dramatic that when you heard from your daughter that I was going to be passing through New Mexico, close to where you live, you invited me to come and speak and offered to organize something there. And
Yes,
we that happened. There were, I don't know, 45 people there, maybe something like that. All of whom, or most of whom, I guess, were members of your church, people who knew you well and knew how you had been. And so they were all excited because they saw this dramatic shift in you.
that's right.
As a result of that, one of your close friends in her early 70s has also already fasted with me.
Yes.
And I haven't heard from her. How's she doing? Is she okay?
Yes, yes, she just
Okay, good.
came back full force and is very busy
Okay.
going through things. I'm trying to have her
I,
slow down, but
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then again, we talked about this, but now Arnaldo is on day what, five
four,
maybe? Four?
four.
Yeah,
Yeah, my
yeah,
husband, yes.
yes. So
Yeah,
um
so we never thought that he would be able to, just the same as my daughter, because
with their work situations.
with her work, yeah, that they would find a way to have all the days necessary, the support,
Hmm.
and yeah, just like my daughter, the people in charge, the boss was very, very supportive, very understanding. We're so
Yeah.
grateful
Amazing.
that it worked out, that he could take a month off to do this. And yeah, he's also had chronic issues
They
for
probably
many,
just shut
many
the
years.
hospital down for a month.
I'm sorry?
They probably just shut the hospital down for a month.
But yeah, yeah, the patients are missing him, but
I'm sure. I'm
uh,
sure.
it's been a blessing in all this ordeal, all this suffering through the years. How much we've learned together and how much he's been able to help others
Yeah.
with the steps, as we have learned different things, he's been able to empathize, to share our story, and to give them hope. Because I think that's a big, big problem these days. People are so sick,
Yeah.
so chronically ill,
Yeah.
and the diagnoses are so, how do you say, so dark. So that there's
Right.
no hope that this is your new normal. Learn to live with this.
Right. Exactly. Well, of course, that paradigm is really good for big pharma.
Yes.
They want you to stay there. They want you to be tied to them for life. And that's what typically happens. You know as well as I do, no one's told with hypertension or type 2 diabetes, you're going to need to take this for a month or two. No, this is the rest of your life.
Yes.
And yet there's two examples of things that we see healing every single time.
And just the beauty that there's this power, the same power that allowed you to grow,
Yeah,
into the adult that you are,
exactly.
that heals a cut. That
Almost,
power.
almost, almost an adult.
But that strength, that power is in you to heal.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
many years of medical school, so much, and pharmacology is one of the hardest um,
Sure.
you say subjects, and now I can say
Practically
what's
have to
the
learn
point?
Latin. Yeah.
It's all made up,
Yeah.
um, and it doesn't cure.
No.
That just being aware of that is mind blowing for a doctor.
I think I might have shared this on one of our recent circle lives, but and if you're watching, by the way, and you'd like to learn how to better support your body, we have the Fast to Rise Circle. You don't have to fast with me. You can just come and join our community. It's inexpensive, and there's amazing support because you've got incredible people there like Sylvia and like Sylvia and like Sylvia. We got three Sylvias in the group, um, including my partner who does an incredible job of running it. And there's amazing support there and tons of great information and coaching and so forth. So, if you're thinking this sounds interesting, like the whole paradigm shift, because it's a complete paradigm shift, especially for a doctor, right? Over the last 30 years, I've had the chance to work with about 3 dozen doctors, but most doctors, I mean, here's a funny thing that happens all the time. Someone says, like they're interested, they reach out to me, we have a conversation. Yeah, this sounds amazing. Sometimes there'll be a month worth of email exchange, and then they'll say, okay, I'm all set. I'm just going to talk to my doctor first. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, that was a waste of time. Because in almost every case, the doctor says, no, what are you talking about? You can't do that. That's crazy. It's
Yes.
wonderful to meet people who've been through that training and have still been able to maintain an open mind, or at least regain an open mind.
Yes.
You
And it
guys,
is true. The circle is a beautiful community, so supportive. It's wonderful to see people going through the fast, coming back, sharing what they went through, and then help each other remain strong
yeah,
in
yeah,
the new
exactly.
knowledge. Yeah.
I'm reminding everyone, hey, people have said to me, I'm struggling a little bit. Come to the circle, be in the meetings, interact with people. There's incredible support there. So you have been a shining light. You are not just in the circle, which is absolutely true, but in your own community. I've seen it. I mean, you're impacting so many people. And this is the thing, if you're listening and you'd like to, first of all, maybe get your own health to the highest level possible, but also be able to help those people you love, the first step really is to be the example, right? You didn't have to convince anybody. I mean, there may still be people who think, whoa, 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 weeks without food, that's crazy. But no one who knew you a year ago can look at you today and say, that didn't work,
That's right.
right?
Yes, and that it is so hard. We've been through different stages. We've shared it with you, how hard it is. You want to scream it from the rooftops. This is,
Yeah,
everybody should know about this. Please do this.
right.
Who doesn't have friends suffering,
Yeah,
with cancer, tumors, epilepsy,
yeah,
depression, and you know they can get better. But how to share, when to share, and that it is, like you say, a one-to-one with patience, with love, with perseverance, but
yeah.
most of all with your witness.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly. I mean, I think, I think the bottom line is, and this is depressing. This is hard, right? I can't remember the name of we talked about the psychologist from Colorado, Evergreen, Colorado, who says one of the most difficult things, most painful things, is watching people you love make choices that you know are harmful to them. And almost everybody we know is doing that all the time, every day, right? With what they eat and with with how they deal with their health issues, etc. And the truth is that many people are not open, and we can't make somebody open. So the best we can do is to be, as you said, be the witness. Be the example. That's, as I think that's how I got started. I was in a completely different industry and I had no thoughts of guiding people through fasts. And I've now spent more than 30 years doing this full time. That was never my plan. But my change was like your change. It was so I was like you. I was in bed most of the time. It was
yeah.
only 3 years for me, but I was only 23 years old. And the change was so dramatic that people would say, "Oh my God, you look amazing. What did you do? Can you help me? Can you help the people I love?" So you're doing exactly what to do. And the difficult piece of it is that most people, even when they see you, even when they experience you, even when they know that what you're saying is true, will still choose to stay where they are.
It's just a lot of people think that we're all different and that what worked for you doesn't necessarily work for me. And that, good, I'm so happy it worked for you, but they don't see the possibility or the change that it implies, the change in the way you eat, what you do. It's so extreme that it's
It,
very,
it's it's it certainly seems extreme to most people, right? It seems extreme. And what we're talking about here is the fact that Sylvia and her family now eat as I do, which is simple green salads and simple fruit meals. I saw your comment that it's not always mono. A mono is best, right? One type of fruit at a time. There are things that combine better with others than, and some that don't do so well. But the point is, that's the natural diet that humans are adapted for, that our bodies are adapted for. The People don't realize this, but the beef industry is funding influencers to go out there and push the carnivore diet, which
yeah.
which is, it's well, it's really criminal because the science is completely clear. The more protein we eat, the worse off we are. And the more of that protein that's animal protein, it's much worse than plant protein. Eat too much plant protein is harmful to us, but animal protein is even worse. And so, these people it's not gonna end well for them. And it's a short-term play to, again, to stuff money into their purses for the beef industry. Um, but the truth is that we're not natural carnivores. Our systems are completely different. So,
And
so many people, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Laura. It's been beautiful to see the biology, the way our physiology, the
Yeah,
length of our digestive tract, our organs,
right.
the way our liver, our kidney works, even the way we raise children, they grow in us. There's many characteristics of our physiology that
Mhm.
clearly point us to being mainly frugivore.
Exactly.
Um, but there's so
Exactly.
many experts out there, that make things very confusing to who to
I
listen
I
to.
I know. I know. And you know what I'll do, I mean, I'll get into discussions on social media and I'll say to people, look, you know, if you're open, I guarantee you this will be better. You just try this. No. People, you know, it's funny. One of the things I hear all the time is people will say, like they've adopted a carnivore diet. I've healed my diabetes. And we've had this discussion. No, you haven't healed anything. If you don't eat carbohydrates, then of course you're not going to have issues with carbohydrates, but you haven't fixed anything. Your body's broken. It should be able to handle carbohydrates with no problem, especially
Yes.
the ones that our bodies are meant for, right? Yeah. Anyway, is there anything else you'd like to say to the world?
Um,
Because everyone in the world is going to see this.
I hope.
I hope so too.
Um, we are amazed, our family, now that my husband is fasting, that it's been three of us going through the process, how different it is. Because he's, openly on the phone, talking with people, saying, "Oh, I'm fasting, I'm going through this and
Right.
I'll be back." But when I did it, we didn't want to share. We were scared. We didn't know what to expect.
Sure.
How it has become in less than a year a natural thing and a thing we trust, that uh, we are so grateful for,
Yeah.
and your help, Loren. God bless you. I mean, what you do is so wonderful. I wish everybody in the world knew of this possibility, but how you've been through this, even, being slandered and persecuted in many ways, you've continued because you know this is good.
Yeah.
But the change in our family, how natural it's become. I pray that at some point the whole world knows that this is a natural thing, a beautiful thing, a God-given gift to heal, that we
Exactly.
don't need to suffer so much, and that there's hope. All the people that might hear this, that are despairing or feeling hopeless, there is so much hope. You can heal. And it's not you trying to find answers. Um, the power is in you already. You just
Exactly.
need to get out of the way.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much again for sharing your story and for your beautiful presence and being here with me today.
Thank you for everything you do, Lauren. God bless you and Sylvie for all you do.
You're very kind. Okay, folks, we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.